are just interested in the blockchain and crypto space. If you're tuning in, you're definitely curious about the world of tech, the advancements, and the blockchain space specifically. And we're grateful to have you here. Welcome to the Tech Frontiers X podcast. I will be your host today in replacement of Pierre, the CEO and founder of Galileo Protocol. In his stead, I am going to be leading this. And just as a side note, at the very forefront, this is quite the learning experience. Pierre makes it look easy, and I've done and hosted many podcasts and interviews, and I've had co-hosts and guests, and did not really struggle. I mean, I guess there's always the initial struggle, but didn't really struggle with the banter, and but hosting a solo podcast episode is quite the learning curve, and it gives you a whole new appreciation for what a podcaster does in a solo context, and then as well as what Pierre does in addition to all of the volume of things that he takes care of within the business and making sure that all the teams have the right information and the action items. On top of that, he's able to um, host a solo podcast and make it look very effortless. So, in that spirit of kind of entrepreneurship and just jumping into things and learning on the fly, being okay with the initial phase being a little bit rough and unrefined, I encourage y'all to try something new, and just it gives you a new appreciation for those that do it very well and those that make it look effortless. Without further ado, I will introduce myself. My name is Zach Atkins. I have been with the Galileo team. I think we're coming on, official maybe 5 months, about 3 months of full-time work with the team. And I actually got my start in communication with them um, as a service provider. And then it evolved into a role where now I lead the customer and partner success operations. In my opinion, it's an incredible job. I love being able to use my creativity to come up with solutions and enhancements surrounding all of our partners at Galileo. We have quite the number, whether it's handling our some of our marketing efforts in our admin moderator operations, building out those strategies. If it's pertaining to our specific partner companies that are also in the world of crypto. Just a couple to mention our NASDAQs and Change Finance. And then we have a number of others, but those are some that I've really enjoyed coming up with ways that we can create tangible solutions to our partnership, tangible opportunities to leverage our tech and their tech, and kind of meet in the middle where we become greater. We lift the space up as a result of that partnership. We also have unique to Galileo is what we call our advocates program, and that's personally something that's very near and dear to my heart because I've been able to I've been blessed to have the opportunity to help develop the advocate program, what that looks like, how it has materialized, and man, it's very inspiring getting to see some community members that have this passion for blockchain and the crypto space. They have this passion for luxury goods, and they have a passion surrounding Galileo Protocol. And it's really fun to get to see that passion materialize in the form of sales training and getting to share in the success that these advocates are having with the outreach that they're doing with the given brands. So the Advocates program is really exciting. And if you are a community member, you are what I would consider a raving fan, and you are excited about what Galileo is building, or maybe you later on read about what Galileo is building and you want to learn about getting involved in the Advocate program, I highly recommend it. And speaking of the advocates, a few of them have decided to publicly present themselves on our brand new website. So if you are watching this at the time of posting, this would be prior to SmartCon at the very end of September, beginning of October of 2023. If you're watching this at that time, then we have just unveiled our new primarily B2B focused Galileo Protocol website. I'm very excited by this. I know that Nathaniel, one of the other co-founders, has been working painstakingly in getting this launched so that we can continue to establish and build that recognition with brands and that reputation of elite luxury products and that luxury services that we're providing for these luxury brands. I know that's kind of a mouthful and a lot of luxury, but it's very exciting to get to see the new website layout. So if you go to the little blurb that says Galileo Protocol, it will have a section of team members. You'll be able to see my pretty face as well as the much prettier face of Pierre and Nathaniel and some of our devs like Faisal and Kush and then our lovely head of marketing, Andrea. So it's been really fun to get to work with the team, and you'll be able to see them as well as the advocates listed on the new website. One of the things that I think is important, and we'll touch on as part of this the beginning phase of this podcast. The past episodes, we've touched on what it looks like, the blueprints of a startup, especially and specifically in the tech space and the world of blockchain. Pierre discussed the essential components that it takes to build a startup in the crypto space. Following that episode, we talked about AI, blockchain, and IoT, the rapid development that's taking place in the space. And along with that comes the opportunity. And then the following week, so this last week at the time of this recording, it will be a week ago, Pierre discussed the topic of the digital gold rush and the risk that's associated with a digital gold rush, but also the opportunity for those that can stomach the current volatility. Again, in 2023, there are a lot of things going on. There are regulations, regulatory uncertainty. There is the issue of what does compliance look like. There is the hesitation to adopt technology. Is it something that's actually secure? Is it something that is necessary? And so we're getting to be in the trenches with all of that. If that's something that you can stomach, and if you're listening to this podcast, most likely you are one of those people. But there's a great opportunity, whether you are an entrepreneur, you're an investor, and you're looking to just improve your life in some way. There is massive opportunity, unlike any I've been able to experience in my lifetime. I know there are certain people that got to experience the .com gold rush, and they got to see what it looked like to have massive advancement in technology in a short period of time. And we are blessed with the opportunity where we get to witness that in this current stage of the game as well. to continue on with some of the updates on the website, one of the key components that I noticed is the values that we have listed at Galileo. We'll do these in couplet format as they're listed in that format on the website. But we're going to touch on those, and the first two are compassion and mindfulness. Compassion in empathy might be a synonymous word, but being able to understand the people's limitations, the team members' limitations, understand that there are certain areas where they are incredibly skilled, and then there are others where they need a teammate to pick up whatever that deficiency or that weakness is. But compassion, understanding, and being able to relate to people, and that's something that we've embodied as a team as we build out Galileo protocol and the technology that's associated with that, as well as mindfulness. The second couplet is clarity and integrity. I would also add the word transparency. One of the things that initially drew me to Galileo was the transparency that Pierre exhibited throughout the dialogue and discussion of the primary engagements where I was providing services and working as a freelancer for Galileo. The transparency of allowing me to jump in and participate in a weekly meeting, to see kind of a behind the scenes of how the team works. Even though I would have considered myself an outsider, I was brought in, and there was a ton of transparency. You can see that evident if you follow the Telegram channels or any of the Discord channels. You'll see paragraphs of announcements that Pierre will leave, and all of that is in an effort to promote the community first, and to give insights where he is able, and provide clarity where there's uncertainty, and then integrity. I personally and professionally believe that integrity is one of the most valuable and essential components that you can have as a character quality. If you don't have integrity, you don't really have. I think it's integral to be a man or a woman, and or at least a good man and a good woman. And and it will allow you in a space, especially blockchain, where there's so much uncertainty, there's so much opportunity to take advantage of people. But at the core of blockchain is transparency. It's a public ledger that is auditable, that is transparent for everyone to see. But even behind the scenes, you have a lot of we've witnessed a lot of malpractice within the industry, and so one of those really important values at Galileo is integrity. It's doing the right thing when no one is looking, when no one's watching, and even if it comes at a cost, or it slows your building process down, know that Galileo Protocol operates with the highest of integrity. I've been able to witness that firsthand, and I hope the community has as well. The last couplet of values is compliance and credibility. We are and have been venturing into the world of luxury goods, luxury assets, and there is a certain reputation that comes with that. And there is also the one of the problems that we're providing a solution for is the counterfeiting. It's a huge thing in the luxury goods space, and we are creating transparency around that. But also, we're doing things compliantly. We're doing things and building the right way. For instance, one of our, and I am remiss to say that I neglected to mention them earlier in the podcast, but Alliance Block is one of those companies that has been merging the traditional and the decentralized finance worlds. They've been doing it in a compliant nature, and as one of our partners, and having their founder and CEO Rashid as our strategic advisor has been a huge has given us a leg up on the whole compliance component to building the company out. So we operate from a compliant nature in the offerings that we've made as a company, and that we will make as a company, and we seek the same for our partners. And credibility. I mentioned reputation earlier, and integrity. We also seek to be the most credible, especially in a world of counterfeits. We want to be authentic and genuine. The one of the more exciting things we've got, we had the unveiling of the website. I believe I mentioned SmartCon. We've been building and leading into SmartCon at the time of this recording. It's in a few days. But with the unveiling of the website, the community is able to see this suite of products that we've been building behind the scenes, and that we will be unveiling in iterations as we go along over the next, several months. The first one is our luxury asset marketplace. I know that the beta testers got a firsthand look at what that what the initial stages looked like, and soon the community will be able to interact with the marketplace. But it'll be really fun and interesting to see how the marketplace evolves, see what products, what goods become the primary focus of the community, of your high net worth individuals, and then even the brands. What's the first offering that a brand makes and provides on the marketplace? We have developed a B2B tokenization platform where we're working hand in hand with these luxury brands, and we're providing a white gloved service to help onboard them into the Web3 and the tokenization space. This is something that over the last several years, you can find evidence of luxury brands implementing NFTs into their business model, and it's been an incredibly profitable endeavor, adding large sums of revenue stream to the company. But we are at a point where we're creating a scalable solution. Those were kind of, I don't want to say one-off, that's not the right term, but in a live setting, I'm fumbling the right words. But we're creating a scalable solution where we're able to work hand in hand with the brands, onboard them, inform them of what tokenization is and how it can benefit their company, and what sort of products that we can offer. If you're in the luxury wine space and you would like to implement what I'll touch on in just a second, a lottery system for your wine selections and for your most valued customers, your VIPs, if you will, then we can provide a solution for that. So the B2B tokenization platform, and you'll be able to see the result of that on the marketplace. The tracking tool is something that is unique in that it affords the opportunity for you to see from the very beginning of, let's say, for example, an auto manufacturer. If you have the vehicle with all of its initial metadata, and then you have 3 purchasers down the road, and the third purchaser installs a new audio system, the fourth person that's looking to purchase can see the entire trajectory from start to finish, or from start to buying opportunity, of all of the of where that that item has been, the location. Um, I can see this being in one sense, or one example being valuable in the context of, for instance, when I was my very first car that I bought was a 1988 Isuzu Trooper. I bought it from my grandpa, and he lived in California at the time, and one of the things you don't think about when you grow up. I grew up in Texas. Is what the air quality, what the just nature of living next to a beach and next to an ocean, the wear and tear that puts on a vehicle. So you can see like the metadata for the vehicle, the Isuzu Trooper that I purchased way back then, and now that's not a luxury vehicle. However, this is something it could have been a valuable component to have. But what I noticed when I was driving back is there's a lot more rust and wear and tear that happens on a vehicle that is primarily housed in a beach town or a beach city versus uh, an area where the air is dry and not humid. Um, so, anyways, that's a little bit of an aside and kind of an anecdote for potential value of what the tracking tool can reveal, and that's metadata changes all along the way. And I know we're touching on the suite of products for quite a while. We'll move on in just a second. But I think it's important to touch on these topics that we've been working on behind the scenes. The next, and kind of I mentioned just a second ago, the metadata management platform. We have a single platform that you can now access that will have integrations with AI and machine learning to optimize the um, adjustments and alterations that take place with those metadata changes. When the physical item uh, changes, how the digital twin or the PNFT can reflect accurately and transparently what the current in existing state of the product looks like. If it's a diamond that's been modified in cut, being able uh, uh, to have that reflected your on the metadata that's associated with that PNFT. I know that again, I'm trying and attempting to provide some value for you as far or tangible thoughts surrounding some of these tools. I know that one of the big problems in the world of diamonds is that someone will they'll have their diamond, they'll take it to get fitted onto a ring. They give it to the jeweler, and you want to talk about a lack of transparency in an industry. That jeweler will switch out the diamond that the client gives them, and they'll put in a lesser quality diamond in the um, high likelihood that the client will never even notice. Um, so being able to have something that is verifiable, it's transparent, it's auditable, um, knowing that the diamond that you gave the jeweler is the diamond that is on your ring that you're receiving back is of great value to the end user. We have a multi-chain interoperability solution, not just multi-chain in the context of being able to take your token and it can communicate with another chain, and it's not siloed to a single chain, but also interoperability from the ability for transactions with your PNFT on other marketplaces outside of Galileo Protocol's marketplace, such as OpenSea or Rarible, or any of your notable NFT marketplaces that have high liquidity and high volumes and high user counts. And then lastly, I mentioned it earlier, the lottery system. That'll be I would say an integral component to any company, any brand that wants to implement a VIP system with their PNFTs and their products. That's a lot of talk about the new website, but I wanted to get, where here we are 25 minutes in, getting to the core and the crux of the actual content of the podcast. But those of you who have listened to any of my podcasts in the past know that once I get on a roll, I can just ramble. I let my mind wander, and sometimes it goes in places that I wasn't intending or designing. So bear with me as we go along this journey. Again, this is a first solo foray uh, into hosting a podcast, and at least with no guests. So I guess all of that does tie into the behind the scenes, working with the team, the website launch, as well as the articulation of some of the suite of products that we have that are soon to be launched to the public. But we've done a lot of stuff building up to SmartCon. That's kind of been um, I don't want to say a pinnacle, because pinnacle implies that there's a downtrend uh, following the pinnacle, but it's been more of a target for us to shoot for in having certain things unveiled, certain things launched. And I'm really excited about what's going to happen at SmartCon. Maybe I'll get into that in the final minutes of the show, of the podcast. But to touch on some of the stuff that Pierre talked about and discussed in his blueprint of a startup, I'll get to, I get to discuss how that actually manifested itself, how I've been able to witness it. And kind of behind, in order to be a successful company in blockchain and crypto, you got to build the proper team. I talked about some of our team members earlier in the podcast. And one of the traits or the requirements in having a proper team is demanding excellence. I know that uh, in order to set yourself up and distinguish yourself from the field, you have to require a very large amount of time and energy and skill level from your team. I'll get into a point a little later that we'll share a little anecdote about the fine line of excellence with patience. But you got to demand excellence. That's one of the things that Pierre has done within the team, as well as Nathaniel as his co-founder, is they've demanded excellence. If something isn't done right, it's understood. But it's also fixed. Another component to building the proper team is encouraging growth. I would say almost daily, if not daily, I have to learn a new software, a new tool. It really, as far as the cliched word of upskilling, it requires you to constantly learn, but you've got to encourage and promote that growth. And that's one of the things that behind the scenes at Galileo is we're always challenging each other. I remember when my first week with the team, Pierre tasked me with using, I believe it was Canva, putting together a presentation on Canva. And I had never used Canva before, or maybe in very limited capacities. But I had never put together a presentation that would be shown to a lot of people or to a whole team. And along with that, it wasn't just Canva; it was learning a whole different, a variety of different tools. So encouraging growth. Like I said, I'm always learning something new, and it's always encouraged. The team is always encouraging each of us to up our skills and not be afraid of the challenge. Something like this, like Tech Frontiers, hosting a podcast, just jumping in, trying it out, being okay with looking bad, or we'll use air quotes, failing, because I don't believe it's failing if you learn and if you grow. And kind of the last key component with building a proper team is patient and learning new skills. That's something that I greatly appreciate with the team, in that they've been, I will say personally, I'm a very slow learner. If I uh, am exposed to a new product, a new tool, I take a long time to chew on it, to digest it, to understand how to use it properly. Um, and I know that patience is something that has been an integral value or core component to the rest of the team, because they've had to bear with me in my slow learning curve. But it's something that is very meaningful to me. I'm incredibly grateful for the patience that's been shown on my end, um, as I learn these new skills. I remember there was a just to touch on that anecdote that I alluded to earlier. There was within the first 2 weeks, just being fully transparent with all of y'all listening, I was filled with imposter syndrome. I was filled with angst of, I don't think I can cut it. This team is too high performing. This team is constantly on the go. They're constantly working. I don't know if I can cut the mustard, if you will. And I think even Pierre, I remember him messaging me, uh, uh, saying he had his doubts, and rightfully so, because like I said, I'm a little bit of a slow learner. He had his doubts on if I was going to be able to perform at that level that the team required. Remember, demanding excellence. Um, Thankfully, he exuded patience, and he was gentle in his approach, but firm, and also, said, these are the things that I want to see, and I, was able to uh, assure him and actually exhibit and show him that his patience was well worth it, and that, again, I don't take that for granted. I am very appreciative of that. So there's you demand excellence, but you also have patience with new skills. Another key component, and something that the team has exhibited, is establishing a product market fit. I remember when I first heard about Galileo and what was um, being attempted to be built, having physical goods tied to a digital, or excuse me, a digital good tied to a physical product, something that is actually tangible. I remember when I first learned about NFTs. The reason Galileo resonated with me is because when I first learned of NFTs, that is the value that I saw, not in digital artwork, not in the standard PFP, um, but in an actual tangible good, whether it be a limited edition item. I'm personally a meathead. I love working out. I love the gym, and so my first thought was, I consider Eleiko, the European brand that manufactures barbells. I consider them to be a luxury product. They have the best barbells on the market, and so that was my first thought: is, wow, I would love to be able to have to get Eleiko on board and have a physical barbell that's tied to this PNFT. And so when I first heard about Galileo, I remember hearing that was the initial vision. That was the MVP, if you will, having a PNFT that's tied to physical goods. And so, but it's since evolved to what I mentioned earlier in the show, of this product of goods, or excuse me, this product of services, and the suite of goods. But one of those components is building a tech that doesn't exist, or even adapting tech to new use cases. With my work on the team, I've been able to witness the dev conversations and the troubleshooting, the problem solving, the wait, this isn't the solution we thought it would be. We need to iterate. oh, maybe we need to uh, build our own technology. We need to take something that is existing and adapt it and modify. That's the beauty of open source technology, is this um, ability to have some transparency and then come up with your own creative solution. I know a lot of people right now, you want to talk about gold rush, a lot of people are using that open AI API as one of those opportunities. So creating these new use cases, either with old tech or building a tech that doesn't exist to make that product market fit. Determining your value proposition. Like I said, initially the MVP was PNFTs, and it has since evolved into a B2B platform that is a white glove service of tokenization for luxury brands. We've got the tracker tool, and then we have some really fun proof of concepts that we'll be unveiling at SmartCon. Um, you have to part of that product market fit is enhancing partnerships. I get to daily have a hand in building those tangible solutions and enhancing those partnerships in order for this space to move into that next level of adoption. It's going to take a lot of companies and a lot of visions all coming together to tide of the industry. So you got to find solutions and ways to think creatively as a unit to collectively build up this industry. So enhancing your partnerships is one of those keys. I know that for us, one of the things that we're not building is DeFi mechanisms. However, in the world of tokenization, when you have stocks, bonds, gold, commodities, when you have these things being tokenized, there's going to be a whole network of traders that then take that and even luxury goods. Luxury goods will now, in a way that they never have been before, be able to have value in trading, and you'll be able to see with on-chain activity where those products are going, how they're being transacted. You'll be able to see things like carbon credits being tokenized and traded on the open market. So there are these, but to touch on to go back to the partnerships, those DeFi mechanisms, we are not experts in the world of DeFi. So it requires partnerships in order to implement APIs or unique adaptations to their technology, to a partner's technology, to come up with those solutions and ultimately enhance the value of both of the companies. And then the last point with establishing product market fit is determining is establishing yourself as a key opinion leader or a KOL. I'm having a framework for that, and I know that behind the scenes, Pierre's done a great job of creating a public presence through this Tech Frontiers podcast, as well as writing an ebook, establishing a presence on LinkedIn. I know a lot of our advocates are conducting or composing articles, long form articles on tokenization, on the world of luxury goods, and they're doing that in an effort to then establish themselves as a key opinion leader in the space. And the last important point, I was getting thirsty. The last important point is timing is everything. Knowing when to launch, knowing when to promote your products, and knowing when to schedule things like PR. I guess promotion and PR go hand in hand. But knowing when to launch, when is your product ready to launch? And I know that the great builder and investor Reid Hoffman always describes entrepreneurship as jumping off a cliff and building a plane on the way down. But knowing that things aren't going to be perfect, that you're going to have an MVP that is not quite what you not, it doesn't quite fall in line with the vision that you had, but it's a stepping stone that will ultimately lead to that greater vision. So you got to know when to launch, and you got to know when to promote. All of that leads into our upcoming SmartCon. In this, the again at the time of this recording, it'll take place in a couple days, and Chainlink's SmartCon is that calendar date that we set as a goal to have these proof of concepts built out, to have our website launched. Um, and you can't launch too soon, but you also don't want to wait too long to launch. These proof of concepts, Pierre, our CEO, is going to be hosting a keynote at SmartCon. We're going to have a booth at SmartCon. And all of the stuff that I've discussed has been a behind the scenes look at what it's taken to get to the SmartCon moment. We're going to be testing and exhibiting our lottery system. So if you are there physically, go by the booth and participate in the lottery system. And then if you're also going to, or instead going to attend virtually, then you'll also be a contributor to, or a participant, I should say, in that lottery system. So again, we're unveiling several products. We have proof of concepts from from 3 separate industries that we'll be unveiling, and I'm very excited about what we are unveiling specifically in the auto uh, as a tokenization piece for an automobile. So, not to provide any spoilers, I want everyone to tune in and to follow along the journey that we've made with Galileo, and that will be continuing at SmartCon and then following SmartCon. We have a very busy rest of the year, so we're just about to start Q4, and there are a lot of exciting things that are rolling out. Being a part of a startup is really fun. It's a great opportunity, and just kind of as maybe some closing comments as we wrap things up. But getting to work for a startup is really fun. It's very challenging. It will test your mettle. You probably won't feel like you belong, and you might not belong when you start. But hard work will do a lot to overcome, any deficiencies or the lack of skill sets that you possess. Um, and so all of that to say, this is on a personal note, I'm very grateful for the opportunity that I've had to build with Galileo, even to host something what seems as simple as a Tech Frontiers podcast. It's an incredible opportunity to just get to challenge yourself. I'm all about improvement, self-improvement, growth, challenging yourself. And so I'll challenge you as a listener to continue learning, to try something new, whether it's out in the physical world, whether it's fitness, signing up for a Spartan race, going to a cooking class, whatever it may be. Try something new. You'll learn a lot about yourself. And that's kind of at the core of Tech Frontiers is we're geared towards entrepreneurs and those that can see a unique opportunity when it presents itself. So thank you for taking the time to listen to my ramblings and musings on Galileo Protocol. I hope you were able to get a little peek into the behind the scenes of what's going on leading up to SmartCon, and then what will be taking place following SmartCon. As a call to action, I would encourage you, if you are watching this at the time of posting, to go ahead and register. Go to SmartCon's website, register if you're going to attend virtually. Buy a ticket if you want to go physically. but tune in, follow along. There are a lot of great speakers, a lot of key opinion leaders in the space of AI, in the space of blockchain, whether it be DeFi or luxury goods, NFTs, anything pertaining to this space. There are a lot of very, very intelligent people, and I highly encourage you to check out those keynotes and those panels. I know that in I guess it'll be about a year, we'll be hosting our own Galileo Protocol. We'll be hosting our own conference and summit, and so I know that uh, as a lead into that, kind of wet your whistle, if you will, by attending SmartCon virtually and kind of getting a peek into what that looks like, and then hopefully we will get the community together in Barcelona in a year's time, and get to have fun with hosting our own tokenization summit. So follow along with Galileo, follow along with SmartCon, and then lastly, be sure to tune in each week for a new episode of Tech Frontiers. I think at the moment you'll be stuck with me next week as well. So I'm, of course, excited for the opportunity to talk about this stuff, to elaborate on things that I am passionate about, entrepreneurship, self-improvement, and this world of crypto is something that has been near and dear to my heart, and I'm very passionate about. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak on it. So to wrap things up, we are grateful, follow on the journey, and continue exploring the world of blockchain and this digital frontier. Signing off. This has been an episode of Tech Frontiers X. I've been your host, Zach Atkins. You'll have a great week.